Growing up as a child in the UK, if I wasn't at school or doing my homework, quite often reluctantly, I would pretty much always have a controller or joystick in my hands. I still to this day live and breathe video games, and I can still hear the words of my father ringing in my ears when he'd say things like, "When you get older, you'll be blind and have arthritic thumbs." Or other things like, "If you keep playing bloody games, you'll never amount to anything." And as I know you're going to be watching this, Dad, yes, that's how you sound. Love you. But seriously, growing up as a child, my father often warned me about the negative effects of playing video games. Video games get a bad rep all the time. We hear things like they'll make you violent or they'll rot your brains. However, in this video, I'm going to give you 7 reasons that playing video games is actually good for you. Hello everybody, I'm Roy McCoy and welcome to my latest discussion video, and today we're talking all about, are video games good for you? Spoiler alert, yes, I believe they are. However, with a strong opinion like that, I need to back it up with some solid points. Before we get started, don't forget to smash like on this video as it really helps it to grow. Now before I jump into my 7 points, I need to address 2 things. The common mantra is everything in moderation, and this is the point of this video, that video games are good for you in moderation. But looking back, I've pretty much played as many hours as I physically could without falling asleep, and this is why I kind of agree where my father was coming from. And while I don't agree with everything he says, for example, I don't think they rotted my brain, I do think he had my best interest at heart when he was telling me that I needed to do other things. Addiction is a massively serious thing. And if you believe that you or someone you know could be addicted to video games, or indeed anything, please encourage them to get help. But please note from this point forward that everything in moderation. The second thing I won't be talking about in this video, and it will be a topic of another video that I'll do later on, is do video games make you violent? But in 2017, a study at the Hanover Medical School concluded there was no link between long-term playing of violent video games and changes in empathic neural responses. Which means, in other words, there is no proof, no evidence to say that video games make you violent, that they encourage antisocial behavior such as aggression and decreased empathy. So, without further ado, let's move on to my first of 7 reasons of why video games are good for you. Video games can make you and help you to become more sociable and increase your social skills. Often people that haven't played anything since the 1980s or have never had a controller in their hands often refer to this kind of image of a person sat in a dark room with some fast food, a drink, and playing on their own, not talking to anybody. And possibly back in the day, video games were a little bit more focused on the single player experience. But as the internet has expanded and the world has become more digitally connected, gamers are able to react and interact in ways they have never done before. And you only have to look at something like World of Warcraft. Now, many years ago, I had a friend. World of Warcraft not only helped him to learn English, as it was his second language, it also helped him to meet and interact with people for the first time. He suffered from chronic anxiety and shyness, but video games allowed him to interact with the world like never before. And even for gamers like me who prefer the single player, now that doesn't mean I hate it and I don't play. For example, I always love playing with my friends on Minecraft, but also for single players like me, it has helped me become more sociable because as video games has become more acceptable and the stories and the game mechanics have improved, and the hobby has become more normalized, it has become more of an acceptable conversation at work, in the pub. Even non-gamers are now more open-minded to listening to stories about the wonderful places I've been and the wonderful things I've seen and how they've helped me. So on that level, games have made people a whole lot more sociable. And in fact, with my friends' children, I saw them both playing Minecraft, and the way in which they worked together and played together with other children online not only made me realize how much video games have progressed since I was that age, but also surprised me as to how well these children were working and functioning as a unit. So if anybody ever tells you, as a gamer, let me know in the comments below if you've ever been told, no, video games are antisocial, you can tell them, no, they're not. They've taught me cooperation, they've taught me communication, and they've given me something to talk about, a hobby that is now acceptable. But let's move on to number 2. And that is making money. Yes, video games can help you make money. Now, pretty much as long as video games have been in circulation, there have been competitions to be the best and be the greatest. But these things have jumped to another level. Esports. Now, back in the day when I was younger, I was an amazing player of first-person shooters. I could just whip anybody. But when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, these huge esport competitions weren't really a thing. They existed, but it wasn't for people to go in and play. It wasn't kind of a career choice. And one thing that I often say is that I wish I'd been born 10 or 15 years later, and my skills with games like Halo, GoldenEye, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, if I could have transferred those skills to now, I would have made a serious amount of money. So back in the day, back when I was a kid, it was pretty much just a hobby. And now you can make a full-time career as an esports athlete. And it's not only that, people can play on Twitch and stream and also make content for YouTube. Now, this is one thing that helped my father adjust and become more like, oh, video games are quite a good thing now. My father, that's still your voice, Dad. My father now thinks that my hobby with video games, as I can make a little bit of money out of the adverts, my father now sees another benefit in gaming. But this is phenomenal. And if my son one day says to me, Dad, I want to be a professional esports athlete, I will do anything I can to train him to help him become a better and better gamer. Probably his mum at that point will try and throw me out of the house, but I need to say that if my kid wants to be a gamer and a professional gamer and make money out of it, and anybody out there does, try and follow your dreams. And there's other ways, of course. You can go into video game development and video games industry. I started out quite a while ago as a video game journalist before I started making videos on YouTube. But now let's move on to number 3. And this point, could be a video in its own right. Life skills. Video games have taught me life skills. Video games can help you to learn problem solving, doing all these puzzles, and figuring out how to do things, how to make the jumps, where to go, where to look for things, can increase your problem solving and your critical thinking. But it's not only that. Multitasking and learning other languages and learning about real-world situations. There is no limit to what video games can teach you. Back in the day when it was just Tetris blocks, yes, it helped your problem solving and critical thinking, but now it can teach you things like economics, the fundamentals of the stock market, how to interact with people, how to create things. There are so many things that you can learn from video games. And the other thing that I have to say about life skills is that video games can help you mature. Not only the things we see and the things we hear, but it can also teach you self-moderation, self-control, when to stop, when to turn off the console. That was not an easy skill for me to learn, but a lot of gamers out there learn very quickly that they need time for breaks, that they need to balance their life, and they need to learn when to switch off. So these are just some of the important skills that video games can teach you. Number 4 for me is a big one, and that is it can help you fight mental illness. Now, a recent study by Oxford University said that especially during the COVID crisis, the coronavirus lockdown, video games have been an important part of helping people with their health, their mental health. And in fact, there's been many studies over the years, and the simple truth is that video games, and this has been the truth for me as well, and it's something else that I'm going to talk about, how Minecraft has helped mine and my friends' mental health, especially during lockdown. But video games quite simply can improve your mood. They can help you to detach from the anxieties. They can de-stress you, release anxieties, and they can help you to escape. Now, obviously, escape isn't always a good thing. Escapism, escaping from a problem when not facing it, can be an issue. And it also teaches you perseverance, that game over screen, trying again and again and again, teaching you that you must never give up, that you must keep going until you can beat the game. Now, of course, permadeath does throw a spanner in the works in that sense. However, if you consider that permadeath is part of life, life is the ultimate video game. That's a really weird point, but you get my point. And even at permadeath, you can start again, start the whole game again. But again, that perseverance, that keep going attitude, the problem solving, it can help your brain to develop and learn to deal with the problems of the world. The combination of life skills and allowing you to detach and separate and think about your problems means that video games gives you a unique perspective and a chance to heal, a chance for your mental health. Because, for example, a gaming mindset means that you'll become much more motivated and resilient when facing everyday challenges. And that goes back to that life skills. Those life skills that are taught by video games can help you with your mental health. That, for me, is a big one. However, moving on to number 5, and it's all about your eyesight. Now, obviously, hand-eye coordination related to video games, the improvement of those skills, is an obvious draw. But as I said at the start of this video, my dad often said things like, "You'll go blind!" And while I wasn't sure about the arthritic thumbs, I was pretty sure that video games weren't making me go blind. In fact, probably staring at a TV playing a video game for several hours a day is pretty much as bad for your eyes as watching a TV for several hours a day. So people who watch TV shouldn't throw stones, especially if you've got a big TV. I don't know what the metaphor is, but you get the drift. Playing video games can actually improve your eyesight, and according to a study, first-person action games improved their spatial resolution, meaning that they could see small things grouped together such as letters, and also improved in-gamers' contrast sensitivity function, which means that some of the players, with that wonderful improvement of their eyesight, were able to drive better at night. So that yet again, is another benefit. So the next time your parents or somebody tells you, they'll make you go blind, say there are a number of studies that will help you. I'll link them in the descriptions below. But let's move on. So number 6 is your brain. It can actually, strangely enough, not rot your brain like my dad used to say, but it can actually help your brain to grow. And this was actually proved by numerous studies that found that video gaming can actually stimulate neurogenesis, which means the growth of new neurons. It apparently says that it can increase your spatial awareness, your memory, and your ability to plan, as well as increasing your fine motor skills. So effectively, playing video games, all those important life skills that help with the depression and the anxiety and the mental illness and the improvement of the eyesight, it can also help your brain increase with new neurons. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a doctor, but what I can say is that it is good for your brain. Growth of new neurons sounds like a great thing. And apparently the brain regions that were improved dealt with things such as navigation, memory, planning, and I'll link the study in the description below. But safe to say, what it makes it sound like is that video games are a gym for your brain. Now, I'm not the most avid gym goer. I need to go because otherwise, everything in moderation, that food creeps up on me, so I need to go. But playing video games is a workout for the brain. I love that. That is a quote. Video games are a workout for the brain. I'm going to quote that for the next time somebody goes, "Oh, video games will rot your brain." I'll go, "No, I am the Arnold Schwarzenegger." I am the Arnold Schwarzenegger of video gaming gym. That's what I am. It's probably not what I am, but yeah, so effectively, apparently, they can help your brain develop and grow, which only sounds like a positive thing. And finally, point number 7 is creativity. Video games can help children and adults to become more creative. I said at the start of this video games have transported me to places that I could never have imagined. Renaissance Venice, unlimited / not unlimited because unlimited doesn't have a number. Anyway, amounts of planets in No Man's Sky. I have created things that I couldn't believe were possible in Minecraft. I have built farms in Stardew Valley. I have been to war zones in Call of Duty. The list of places I've been. I have assembled a group of 108 Stars of Destiny in Suikoden. The things that I have done and seen have increased my creativity. In fact, and at another time I will talk about Assassin's Creed 2 and why I think it's a masterpiece. But safe to say, it is the first video game I have ever played that inspired me to dream. Now, not talking about dreaming of a game, I can't wait till it comes out. I'm saying that I actually dreamt that I was in Venice. I dreamt about the game. It inspired me to dream about this historical period. Now, obviously, you can talk about things like Minecraft increasing your creativity in an obvious way, but also I think the storytelling of video games. Now, back in the day, when my dad was telling me to get off Football Manager, trying to get my football team to win the Champions League from the bottom of the championship, it was a little bit different. But this is something that also helped my father to grow and realize that video games can be a healthy thing, not just about earning money, but my father loves country and western. He loves anything like related to the cowboys. I always said that my dad should have been born in the 1880s in Arizona territory. That was my father's time period. He is obsessed with anything country western. He loves the music. He's from the UK, but he loves this period. And when I showed him Red Dead Redemption 2, he was blown away, not only by the graphics, not only by the gameplay, but by the story. He thought that that game was amazing. He actually liked the game more than I did. I liked it, he loved it. He thought it was magnificent. But seriously, in all truth, it really helped my father to discover and see a new side to video games. The way in which they have improved. The way in which video gaming has become so much more than just putting blocks like Tetris or putting blocks like Minecraft, even though that helps you with your creativity. But stories now in video games can inspire dreams, imaginations, and things to talk about. But that brings me on to the end of this video. And that was 7 reasons that video games are actually good for you. Let me know in the comments below, as I said before, which one is the most impactful on your life? Which one of those 7 points has been most pertinent to you? And now probably I need to give my dad a quick call to say, shortly after he's watched this video, to say, yeah, sorry dad for the impression, but I do love you. But for me today, this is Roy McCoy, out!